What's going on, everybody? It's your boy E-Man the Chosen here, and I'm back today with another video. So today we're going to talk about the truth about subclassing. So now we're in the final cycles of the PTS, and pretty much what's on the PTS is what we're going to be getting in the live server. I think it's fair now to make a video about this topic and talk about, what I think about it from a PvP player's perspective, like the good, the bad, the ugly, and stuff like that. If you guys want to know like what I've cooked up so far as my build for my Bonksorc, stick around to the end because I do talk about and break down what I've cooked up so far. So alright, so first of all, when it comes to subclassing, I do think it's going to be a fun time, especially for the first few months. Like, ESO's meta has been pretty stale for a few years now, and this is going to be something that's really going to spice up the meta. And I keep seeing people thinking like, oh, this is the end of ESO. People were saying the same thing like back when the hybrid changes came out, like, oh, this is over, like ESO is dead now. But I actually think it's probably going to be a big spike of people playing because it's a new update, and people who have been wanting to put certain skill lines together are going to have that opportunity now, and it's going to be a lot of theory crafting. Now, my only fear about this whole subclassing thing is that, right now, like, class diversity was kind of already a dying thing when it came to builds and stuff like that. And with this, like, it's gonna be a few months before people find out like what exactly the best setups are, like as far as like skill lines and stuff like that. And then pretty much you're gonna run into a situation where you're gonna have the 3 meta skill lines, and if you're not running those skill lines, then you're probably going to be at a disadvantage in most fights. I think another thing about subclassing is that, let's say you want to play a pure class, like you don't want to engage in the subclassing, and you're pretty much going to be punished for playing a pure class because there's just so many better setups, because the balancing isn't too great. Like, there's only a few handful of classes that you can actually play a pure class and still do well, but like pure DK is almost dead, like pure Maxorc. I think that's going to be a big turnoff for people, especially for people who like to play their class, like they enjoy the aesthetic or how like their pure class feels, and pretty much forcing them into like doing subclassing in order to be competitive. Don't necessarily know if that's going to be the best move. I still think there needs to be some balancing changes, especially we're going to have a situation where there's going to be dead skill lines or just forgotten about skill lines because the other skill lines just outshine them so much more. It's like, why run this skill line over others? So yeah, definitely going to be a lot of that going on as well. So as far as subclassing, how it works, let's say that you create a Sorc. You have to keep at least one Sorc skill line, and then you can subclass 2 other skill lines. I do like where they made it to where you can only grab like one of the skill lines from another tune. So let's say like I'm on my Sorc, right? I can't grab 2 Warden skill lines. I can only grab 1 skill line from Warden, and then I will have to like do another one. To be honest, I would have liked if you could only subclass 1 skill line in general. I think that would have been a better play so that class identity could still be preserved somewhat, but being able to subclass 2 skill lines, in my opinion, was just a little too much. Another big thing I think is going to happen is that the skill gap between new players and veteran players is going to be even wider. Like, most veteran players have played all the classes and have very deep understanding of how the classes, and it's only going to make them better because they're going to understand like how some of these skills can work together. But a new player coming into subclassing, it's probably going to be very, very overwhelming for them to understand like how these skill lines like work together, because you pretty much have to play every class in order to understand like what you really want out of these combos and stuff like that. So I just feel like the veteran players are gonna, like, the skill gap is just gonna widen even more, and it's gonna be less inviting for new players, even though it's gonna be some really cool combinations you can do and stuff like that. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And I'm 100% sure that the tank meta is going to be absolutely outrageous. Like, right now on the live server, there's already like some pretty unkillable builds, but like the survivability and like the infinite sustain that you're gonna have on some of these builds are gonna make people really not die. Like, don't get me wrong, like damage, like overall damage is definitely going up, like the amount of like burst potential you have is going up, but I think the tank potential and the healing potential actually outshines some of the damage potential. Like, I've actually seen some builds with passes from Necro, Nightblade, and Warden where you can get your health all the way up to 250k health. Like, imagine running around Cyrodiil and you got people with 250k health running around, you know, when they, you know, transform into polymorphs, and then like you have infinite blocks, like, you know, you have infinite sustain. Like, it's gonna be very, very tanky meta. It's gonna be, especially when people actually start figuring out their builds, like, people are going to be absolutely unkillable. Let me know what you guys think about how the meta is going to be in the comments come this next update. Alright, so now we're going to get into my build for my Bonksorc. The build's far from complete, but here's a few of my stats. So our main class is Warden. I'm using the Atro Mundus, the Smoke Bear Hunch for my food. I am a stage 4 vampire, as always. Getting to my sets, I'm using Essence Thief on the front bar, using Rallying Cry on the back bar, sword and board, using Lust Bond for my monster set, One Piece Trainee, and the rest of the body is Essence Thief, you know, all in pin, one in reinforced chest, and then we're using Rallying Cry jewelry, and we're using this new mythic, the Monomyth. It's one of the best mythics in the game for PvP. Front bar, you get Major Force, Minor Berserk, and Minor Vulnerability. On the back bar, you get Major Protection, Minor Vitality, and then Minor Timidity, which Minor Timidity is the one that gives you like less ult gen, but you really don't feel that at all, especially with all the ult gen we're going to be getting off our build. But I definitely think this is going to be the meta mythic for next patch and makes this build very, very strong. As far as our skills, I am using the Hurricane just for that extra damage, and the Minor Expedition. Also, this skill hits pretty solidly hard as well. Next ability we're using is the Executioner, as our Execute still hits pretty hard. Next ability we're using is the Binding Burst. I have this scribed as an Immobilize. The second script is the Warden class script that does the Fear, and then Minor Courage. Really, really strong ability. It applies like Immobilize, and then here's everybody who's in that little circle, so it's pretty cool. We're using Wrecking Blow, that way you can get that Major Berserk, so getting a lot of major buffs with this ability. It makes you hit really hard. So yeah, with Hurricane and, you know, with all my buffs up, like, you know, we're hitting like, you know, without Major Berserk, we're hitting like 12k D swings. It's pretty crazy, actually. Then we're using Deep Fisher, one of the best burst abilities in the game. It's going to apply Major and Minor Breach, and also like 2 big bursts as well after 3 seconds for the first one, and then 6 seconds for the next one. We are still using Bunk. I do like Bunk on this build, but Bunk is a flex spot. You could use Dawnbreaker. I've also been playing around with the Bat ult as well. You could also, like, if you put Ice Staff on the back bar, you could run like Elemental Storm and, you know, stuff like that. There's a lot you can do with this build. It's actually very, very strong. I was playing around with it earlier, but for aesthetic purposes, we'll probably just keep Bunk on. I really like it. Back bar, we're using the Blue Betty. This Blue Betty is going to be like what, you know, helps carry your max sustain, because you do use a few max kills on this. It's also a nice little like cleanse, like you can use it as a cleanse, like you can spam it and use cleanse. You also get like a 5% damage buff, like if you don't have any negative effects on you, which is really, really nice. Using Healing Soul, this is going to give you like a heal. It's going to give you like some resources back, and also give you minor or major vitality. So with this build, we have minor and major vitality. Using Ball Lightning, one of the best snare removals in the game. Also absorbs a projectile. Really, really strong ability. One of the reasons I use Storm Calling. Definitely going to be a meta skill next patch. Everybody's probably going to be using this skill. It's one of the best movement skills in the game. And then yeah, it's just going to be so strong. Alright, the next skill that we're going to be using is the Templar Rune, the Restoring Focus, that gives you stamina back. I really like this skill because it's going to help you sustain, and you could be like really sustain if you like put on the Stamp Betty. Like, you would never run out of stamina. You could also do the blue focus as well, like super good sustainability. One of the main reasons I'm using this is for the passives, and I'll go ahead and start getting into some of the passives, like starting with the Animal Companion. Like Animal Companion just has so many great passives. Like first you're getting like, you're getting some health, like when you use abilities, you get ult gen. You also get like a base 20% recovery, which is absolutely wow. Like 20% recovery in a passive is crazy. I don't really use the crit damage passive because I'm not really built into crit on this build, but you can if you want to. Now the restoring life passes are some of the strongest. You get some crazy healing, like healing done up to 13%. Also get some block mitigation as well, and also as well as minor mending, which is very, very strong. So one of the main reasons I'm using restoring light is for this passive right here. So pretty much when you cast an ability with a cast time, you pretty much auto block every 15 seconds. So right here from the D swing, this guy right here, and see how I just like auto block. I didn't have to press block to get that block right there. So pretty much every 15 seconds I'm auto blocking something like at no cost. And like for a D swing build, like it's going to be very, very strong. Like, and there's going to be a lot of builds who are going to be using this restoring light seal line, so it's very, very strong. As far as storm calling, you're getting a lot of damage and recovery. So you get 141 base recovery, which is really, really nice. So 141 base recovery stacked with 20% recovery is crazy. You're getting some physical and shock damage. We do a lot of physical damage on this build, and then you get the amplitude passive, which is like a free SSD for like 10% damage, and then you get some extra weapon and spell damage for having a sorcerer ability slotted, which is 100 weapon damage, which is really, really nice. So very, very strong skill line right here. That's why I'm using it, and so forth. So we are an orc on this build. I do like orc for this playstyle because I can run all infused and still have like the speed that I want. And man, just look at the sustain we have. Like with orc speed, with the Templar rune, like if you see my stamina bar, like we're actually going up in stamina as we run. Like my stamina is gradually going up because the rune is restoring stamina. And then like I can streak a lot because I have the Mag Betty with Atro Mundus, and man, like, and this is just a little bit of the build and a little bit of like what you're going to be able to do next patch. Like it's going to be absolutely wild. So but anyways guys, that's pretty much going to do it for most of the video. I'll go ahead and show some of the CP real quick. This isn't finalized CP at all. This is just what I have so far. So I have Mastered Arms, Deadly Aim, Rapid Strikes, and Resilience. And then on the red tree I have Survival Instincts, Pain's Refugee, Fortified, and Boundless Vitality. Fortified or Boundless Vitality are both flex spots. If you really wanted to, you could put like some more sustain in your tree if you wanted to. Like you can go with Sustain by Suffering if you really wanted to, or if you just want to be faster, you can go with like a CP like Celerity. But honestly, like with Orc and like being in medium armor, don't really need it too much and stuff like that. So this is just a preview of my subclassing build, and yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions, or let me know what you guys think about subclassing. Do you guys think it'll be good for the game? Do you guys think it'll be bad, or this is the end of ESO? Let me know what you guys think. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me out. We are almost at 6K. I really do appreciate all the love and support you guys have been giving me over these past few months. It doesn't go unnoticed. And we got a lot more content and live streams coming, so make sure you guys stay tuned. All right, guys, I will see you all in the next one. Bunk. Peace.